I used to be a Democrat. Let me explain. And let me tell you why I think this is specifically important right now to talk about. So I am a millennial, and the first presidential election that I was old enough to vote in was 2012. I honestly can't even remember who was running up against President Obama, but I do specifically remember voting for Obama. And let me tell you why. It pains me to admit this, but the reason why I voted for Obama was because my close family, my direct family, were voting for him, i.e. my mom, my dad, and my sister. I was 18 at the time, freshly able to vote, and I quite honestly didn't care a whole lot about politics. I just knew I was old enough to vote now, so I figured I should probably do that. Here's the issue with that. If you are like me back then, where I was just voting simply because I could, not because I had made an educated and informed decision on who I was voting for, then I implore you to not do that. Do not make the same mistake that I did. If you are voting solely based off of the people around you's opinion or whatever it may be, there is so much talk on the internet right now, I implore you simply not to do that. The reason why now, as an almost 30-year-old, I'm bringing this up is because I think it's so important. Who you vote for will affect your life directly for the next 4 years. And if you've watched something for the past 4 years, and you have taken an analysis of your life and what it looks like for the past 4 years, and what things were directly impacted by the president, the VP, and the Congress, and how our government is set up, and you do not like it, then you should not vote for that type of thing again. The reason I specifically bring up that I was Democrat was because I voted Democrat. And I did that uneducated and simply because I could vote, quite honestly. But this is what maturing is, this is what aging is, this is what growth is being able to reflect back on previous mistakes you've made and change direction. I remember voting in that election solely based off of what my family was doing. Not really what I felt as an individual, but again, I hadn't really researched a whole lot, so I kind of just went with what I thought was best at the time. Fast forward a few years after that election, and I'm like, wow, I really don't align with this person's beliefs, their policies, what they're doing. I don't agree with it. And I voted for that. And it sucked for the next 4 years after that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up specifically right now is because obviously we have an election coming up here in just a few short months. And if you're someone who is voting simply based on the fact that you don't like the other candidate, but you haven't researched the opposing candidate, just do better. Literally just do better. You will make a mistake and then you will regret it for years to come. I promise you. You should not be finding your information about a candidate on social media and or news outlets. Point blank period. You should be researching the policies that they have released to the public and doing a deep dive into those policies and seeing if they align with what you want for your future and, like for me, for my son's future. Because it is so important. You should not be making a vote based off of your disdain or dislike for someone else. You should be doing it based on the policies that are being presented to you. Not off of a TikTok you see, not off of Instagram you see, not off of CNN, Fox, ABC, whatever. It doesn't even literally matter what the outlet is. That is not what you should be basing your vote off of. Just like back when I voted for the first time, I shouldn't have based my vote off of what my family was doing. So newsflash to me, as now almost 30, and looking back on 18-year-old Elyse, I should have never voted for him because I didn't actually know his policies, I didn't know what he was going to do, and I was an uneducated voter. Being an educated voter is a lot more than just scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, or watching the news. It actually is. You have to research the candidate, you have to research their policies, and you have to look at the years prior, if they were in office, which both of them were, surprise, surprise, go take a look at who's been in office longer and decide if she's really actually done anything for you or your family in the time that she's had any sort of political office or affiliation. And then take a look at the other guy and see what he accomplished in 4 years and decide which one you think has a better projection for 2025. Be an educated voter and not just a voter simply because you can do it. It is actually incredibly important for us in society and for these little lives like the one that I have in my backseat and the world that we are going to set them up for. Think about it. Really, really think about it, okay? And try and do better. Don't be like little 18-year-old me and make poor decisions based off of, quite honestly, a lack of information and a lack of education. We can do better, and I know we should as a whole. So please, over the next few months, do your research, okay?